For those of you who don't know, which might be most of you, my name is Ryan Roten. I am the creator of this community and author of the book CareerKred. So today and over the next 3 days, 4 days technically, if you count today, I'm going to be covering the different steps within the book CareerKred to help you be able to build a digital brand, get recognized for your expertise, and ultimately be able to put your presence out into the digital sphere, if you will, so that you get recognized for the things that you want to become known for. So last week I put out a short little video on a very small portion of the define step, which we'll cover again today. But essentially what we're going to talk about most of this session is how do you get to the point where you know what you want to be known for and you know how to talk about that, not only in person in front of people, but also online. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started with some of the training. Those of you who are here, pop in live, great. Say hi. You can tag me in the comments if you want to, and then any kind of questions that you have, I'll be able to answer them as we go through this. Jennifer, hi. How are you? I see you there. It's kind of weird, kind of meta. I'm looking over here at this screen where I see myself talking to you, which is kind of odd. But anyway. So this is going to be probably a different kind of training, very similar to last week, but different than what maybe you've seen before. I'm not going to go through any traditional slides. PowerPoint, keynote presentations, those things can be boring. So if you are in the Facebook group, so Jennifer specifically, if you're there, I posted a file this morning that you can download. It's just called the Define Step. When you open it up, you're going to see a whole bunch of shapes and different things that have nothing on it because we're going to go through and populate that today. Because when you write things down, you remember things better. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and dive into what we're going to talk about today, which is the define step. And the first thing that I want to point out as we get into this training is that the world has certainly changed over the last many years, like the last several years, especially with the advent of the internet, right? The old way for us to get recognized for our expertise was simply to put together a resume, right? So we put out this resume. Other people see what's there. They, based on that resume, they say, you know what, I think maybe Ryan or Jennifer would be a good fit for this role. So let's bring them in and talk to them. Talk to one of those two, right? So this is essentially just a document that you put out into, the companies or wherever it is that you want people to see it. But today we have this, what I'll call new way, which it consists of still your resume, but we also have these other things that exist out there that are, I believe, is equally as important as your resume, and maybe even more so today, simply because of the way job search is conducted, not just on our side, but also on a company's side. Or even if you're a business, the way a business reviews you before they decide to do business with you. So your resume, if you're a business, could just be your portfolio, for example. But if you're not a business and you're a job seeker or you're an executive who's looking to boost their credibility, their earnings, their status, all that type of stuff, it's still a resume. But now we also have the addition of things like LinkedIn. We also have this thing called social media. And we have holistically, if you will, a digital presence, but we're just going to call this Google. And before, when we had a resume, the only way people could really understand who you are and what you're all about is to get your resume and invite you into a conversation. So whether it was a phone call or bring you in for like an interview, if your business is typically a phone call, and they had to judge you based on whether or not you could work together from that one phone call. Today, I can actually judge you and whether or not we can fit or work together just by doing searches online. If you send me my resume, or your resume, what typically happens is we're going to go and look at you on LinkedIn, And most of the time, the reason that we do that is because we want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile jives with your resume. Then they're going to most likely do a quick Google search on you, see what comes up. And by the way, if nothing comes up, then that's almost as bad, if not worse, than if something does come up. So, and we'll talk about that more tomorrow when we're in the integrate step. But then after we go through and we do a Google search on you, we also then come down here and take a look at your social media because we want to make sure that all of this stuff is in alignment. So we need to make sure that all this stuff is in alignment. And when I do that, I can get a good idea of whether or not you're going to fit. Either if we're working together from a business standpoint, can we work together? Or from a cultural standpoint in a company. Totally different than what it used to be. You could not determine this necessarily from the resumes of old, if you will. But the good news is that once we learn how to apply this new stuff correctly, it will help us get found in search. It'll help you demonstrate your expertise, and it will boost your credibility. So the question then becomes, how do we do this? How do we get started doing this?